Hey everybody, got to give you a little dose of reality because you need to understand a little dose of reality. So the whole point of Jelly Juice is to be adaptable to whatever situation you are being thrust into. Some of you right now have an adaptability issue to the current political climate. Some of you have an adaptability issue to the current conditions of your environment. Some of you have an adaptability issue to everything at this point, and you are resisting all changes. Okay, so I learned a lot in organizational development and leadership class about change management. How do you manage change in an organization? And how do you manage change in an overall global type of economy? Well, it happens little by little. It's a conditioning. It is a slow boil. You can characterize it any way you want, but it is something that happens on a gradual basis. And there are a lot of indicators that are out there to show you that there's change going to happen. And either you adhere to it and you acknowledge it and you adapt, or you go down fighting, literally go down fighting. Okay, and going down is the operative word as you're fighting. Okay, and so the whole point of the Jelly Juice is to be able to adapt to chemistry. There is specific intentions and purposes with all of biodiversity. Okay, we have specific agencies in place to give you an idea that something is relatively edible, that is relatively safe. But of course, like any biochemistries that are out there, there are different biochemistries, and you're going to have to figure out if the chemistry that is being approved by the FDA is going to be a chemistry that is something you can handle. And everything is natural, John Coronado, or everything is synthetic. Dr. Seabee died because he didn't understand how to deal with chemistry. There is nothing that is like both or one or the other. You can't have natural and synthetic. You can't have natural and synthetic living simultaneously. It's either all natural or it's all synthetic. It can't be like living next to each other. Okay? So, and Dr. Seabee died because he didn't understand that even though you live in a world full of different characterizations of things, he didn't understand how to balance biochemistry. So I don't really give a fuck what Dr. Seabee said because he's dead. So he has absolutely no bearing on my future as well as my past. And people want to go and quote fucking natural doctors or whatever, these holistic people. They're still living in the world of like, oh yeah, there's like something that's synthetic and then there's something that's natural. No, there are basically actions and reactions. There is, Newton's third law, Newton's first law. Then there's the first law of thermodynamics, second law of thermodynamics. Okay, it's all freaking physics. But you want to put a story around it. Oh yeah, natural versus synthetic. No, it's just about how you put together elements, how you put together bonding chemistry, how you put proteins together, what's your intention behind it, what are you trying to do, and guess what? Dr. Seabee's all into the antibiotics, and guess what? The outcome was he's dead because he dealt with the antibiotics. You can still have things that have a specific, like nature has a purpose, right? Nature is to keep things alive. How you put nature together doesn't even matter as long as the constituents are either aligned with life or are they aligned with death. The whole thing in the Jelly Juice is aligned with life. Okay? The whole thing in the Jelly Juice is aligned with life. So anyone that says, oh God, organic gardening is so much better, when you live in a world full of fluctuations with specific intentions, nothing is fucking organic. Okay? It's all synthetic. You know why? Because there's intentions behind it. When there are specific intentions behind it, then you deal with an intentional universe, and you can have an intention to bring your life back, but you have to have intention. You just can't be like, oh yeah, it's up to God. It's up to this naturopathic to tell me how to do something. No, you have to understand how chemistry works. What are the life-giving protocols out there? What are the life-giving elements out there? The life-giving microbiome out there that you can put together and bond through chemistry. It's all fucking chemistry. Do you not realize this? When you play this, oh yeah, you know, everything's genetically modified. Of course everything's genetically modified. You live in a universe where we're not fucking primitive little cavemen anymore. We're not living by the seat of our pants, hunting and living in the caves. We're not playing those games. Now we are very advanced humans that are able to make books, okay, that are able to create projects like this and actually make something that looks like an object. So there's chemistry. There's intention. If you want to fucking live, you have to live with intention. You have to understand the chemistry of intention. You know, when you're playing, it's like, oh yeah, I'm going to do organic gardening and everything is going to be GMO and chemical free. Bullshit. There is nothing chemical free. You know why? Because you live in the world full of elements. What is it, the periodic tables? The periodic tables is full of elements. Those are all chemicals. What do you want to do? Go live in a hermetically sealed box where there's no air, no water, no food, just a devoid, a black hole. If you want to be chemical free, go live in the freaking universe in a black hole. But even then a black hole isn't chemical free. So, you know, I have a lot of you that are still buying into the holistic world. You still think Dr. Seabee has something to say. You still think that you can live a chemical-free lifestyle. No, you can't. We live in elements. You look up the constituents of air, it's all elements. You look up the constituents of water, it's all elements. You look up the constituents of plants, it's all biodiversity. Microbiome, viruses, parasites, protozoa, proteins, fungus, and bacteria. You look up biochemistry in specific biodiversity. It's fatty acid, amino acid, prohormones, and minerals. And you look up your air, your environment. Oh, yeah, it's like, you know, oxygen, hydrogen, nitrogen. You know, I can 188 plus elements. And then you have the compound elements, chemical compounds. And then you have different specific, you know, combustion types of things. And you have specific things that can be put together and explode or expand or retract, whatever. Okay, so it's all freaking chemistry. So you think your organic garden is going to be so thriving when there is smoke coming from California going right over your garden? You think that when they're doing the chemtrails in the skies and you're like, and you're doing your organic garden, you think you're immune to the freaking chemtrails? You think you're immune to the fires? You think you're immune to all the different weather? You know, with these viruses that are airborne, you think you're immune to the viruses? You think if you move away from society, you're not going to be exposed to somebody? Bullshit. Everything gets carried through the elements. You're not immune to anything. You have to adapt to your environment with the intention. You want to call people bad moms and dads because they're trying to adapt and they weren't told or they didn't know, and you're trying to push your politics down somebody else's throat? But yet, you know, you're in a world where you're not immune to the fluctuations of the world. If you want to be, you know, immune to humanity and what humanity is doing, go live somewhere where it is human free, biodiversity free, no chemicals. Go live in a white room where there's no air, no water, no food. That's how you can be chemical free. But if you start saying that, oh yeah, this is better over this, based upon names, not the science behind it, not the intention behind it, because you say, oh yeah, organic versus synthetic. There's no, what? That's a made-up context by the architects of your system to make you think that one is better over the other. But yet you still end up dead. Look, Dr. Seabee, oh yeah, you know, and everything about natural. He's all into the natural herbs. And guess what? He's dead. Oh! Not surprising, because he bought into the same bullshit of the two wings of the same dove, the holistic allopathic. When you have intention behind growing things, when you're building buildings, when you're making books, everything is fucking genetically modified. There is nothing natural, but everything is also natural too. Everything is natural and everything is synthetic. Go figure. It's not, this is natural and this is synthetic. That's basically what people are saying, like you, John. Oh yeah, you're saying that this book is natural and this book is synthetic. But wait, they're in an intentional world with purpose. How can this be natural and this be synthetic? Oh wait, it's because of how it's done. It doesn't have this mineral in it, so that makes it more natural. And this is devoid of this mineral, so that makes it more synthetic or whatever. You know, come on. Now you're playing the game of the allopathic holistic. And you haven't been reading my information. You don't really pay attention to my shit. You're just too worried about being in your little politics. With no intention really to live, but it's more about pushing your politics and pushing your agenda and making everybody wrong, just like I'm doing. So we have a lot in common. But I'm telling you, everything in this world is synthetic. And everything in this world is organic. Synthetic has intention. Organic is where you don't know what the intention behind it. You're just reacting from it. So if you don't know the intention behind it, you think it's natural. You're like, oh yeah, the wind is coming at me, it's natural. Because you don't see who is doing something to make the wind blow. But once you know about HAARP and all the different geoengineering, you're like, oh yeah, well the wind isn't natural, it's synthetic. What would make something natural? Oh, your perception, because you don't know who's behind the actions. See, that's what you're basically doing, is your truth is creating all of this division. Because you keep buying into all the manipulations, the psychological operations. Psychological operations run so fucking deep that even my jilly juicers who still buy into the holistic world don't get it. And it's obvious by what they say. It's obvious by what they still want to categorize. And they still want to go and quote Dr. Seabee, who isn't even a fucking doctor. All right? He's a flippin' who knows what. Someone with his own ideas and wants to bond antibiotics together and call it healing. No different than some doctor in the allopathic world selling you antibodies. When you're selling antibiotics, you're selling basically antibodies. You're no different. Dr. Seabee is no different than Dr. Fallacy. Okay, so don't be quoting in your holistic fucking people, because they don't hold any water in the jelly juice world. So yeah, I'm a little aggressive. Because we are now in a time where you're going to have to adapt to a FEMA camp because you're such a resistor. You're going to have to adapt to maybe moving from your house because of natural disasters. You're going to have to adapt that maybe you're not going to get your garden to be what you think is perfect because it's been exposed to chemicals from pesticides or from the chemtrails or from the acrid smoke that's floating down the valley onto your garden. Everything is natural. It's just all different minerals. But hey, guess what? The jelly juice is able for you to be able to adapt to the minerals in your society as long as your filtration process is number one A-OK. And if you're not doing J juice, then you got stagnation and you will be subject to your conditions of your environment because you have a stagnated immune system, a stagnated digestive system. So this fallacy that pesticides are killers are only because you all have issues. Now, am I going to go and drink a bunch of Roundup, a concentrated form? No, because it's not FDA approved. It's not for human consumption. But if you spray a little Roundup on your garden to kill off some weeds, it's not going to kill you if you actually use it. Oh, but someone that has predispositions, cancer, disease, and chronic illness, yeah, okay. They might actually have a reaction. I no different than somebody that has predispositions and exposed to the COVID-19. No different than that person dying because of predispositions. But a relatively healthy person could be exposed to the Roundup and be fine. A relatively healthy person can be exposed to the COVID and would be fine. But if you're that imbalanced and you're that full of cancer, disease, and chronic illness, you won't be able to handle anything in your environment that has been FDA approved or that is kind of floating in the universe. And if it's that bad, if there's that much poison in your environment, somebody will tell you to freaking evacuate. So when the news says, hey, San Diego, watch out, we're going to have fire, floods, and hurricanes and whatever, earthquakes, and you still want to sit on your mountaintop in the forest amongst all these trees and underbrush, and you're sitting smelling the smoke, you've put yourself in that position because you're not heeding the warnings. They're telling you, get the hell out. It's just not healthy for humans. Oh, but if you're too poor or you're too attached to your material items, then yeah, you're going to be a sitting duck. So when you're on the jelly juice, you should be able to adapt to the FEMA food temporarily. You should be able to adapt to whatever food that is available to you at that time. Okay, you could be moving like 100 miles away and take on genetically modified food, and guess what? You would survive because you have the salt, you have the chili juice, you have, the water, cabbage and kale. You're gonna have fresh fruits and vegetables, even though they're genetically modified. It's still fresh fruits and vegetables because you need it. Or you go and find the cruciferous, or you grow your own if you can. And who cares if it's exposed to the elements because it's all natural. Or you go buy it at your local, store that has your own corporate farms. So that way you don't have to go and garden. You can take the food from the corporate farms, ferment it down to a pre-digested state with the salt, whatever mineral content's in there is going to be energized by the salt. Your body's going to release the excess, absorb what it needs, and guess what? You're great. That's why there is no organic food in chili juice. Because the organic is a fucking fallacy. It's all freaking psychological operations to make you think that you're hoity-toity and a much better person than somebody else. That's the division in our society, is where you think that your ways are that much better because you're doing organic and you're with this Dr. Seabee and you believe in this belief system and that's all like, a contrived to make you feel like you're better than somebody else. And so I don't have room for that in my head for anyone. I know you're all going through your own little de-brainwashing, and I tell you, most of you are not doing the J-juice out there. You like what I talk about, because I definitely do confirm and substantiate your belief systems, but you've got to take it much further than where you're at. Some of you are just stopped. Some of you have stopped at a certain point, and you can't seem to get beyond that. Like you've been pigeonholed in the holistic world, and it shows. So, genetically modified, nothing wrong with that. Because there's intention behind chili juice. And guess what? Chili juice works. It may not work for all of you because you're not doing it, or you don't want to deal with your predispositions, but it doesn't mean it doesn't work. It just means that you don't want to deal with your predispositions. You're too attached to your politics. You're too attached to raising awareness that you haven't even paid attention to yourself or your children. Oh, you say you do. You say you care about your kids. You say you care about the environment. You say you care about your body, mind, and spirit. But yet you haven't really paid attention to it. You still have your cancer, disease, chronic illness, your bitterness over ex-relationships. You still are looping in so much trauma that it's obvious. You still think that Dr. Seabee is something credible to say. He's dead. Can you not get that through your head? Dr. Seabee is dead. Why are you fucking quoting him as if he had something to say? You've got to graduate beyond the dead doctors, beyond the dead holistic people. Okay? I know I'm not a popular person because I don't subscribe to the mainstream sheeple mentality. Sorry. As soon as I see myself buying into the mainstream stuff as far as the belief systems around the holistic allopathic, I realize that, yeah, when they're dealing with antibodies. They're not dealing with probiotic stuff really on a mass level. The probiotics, they're actually, what I'm seeing in the National Institute of Health, they're taking the constituents from J-juice and using it as a cure topically. Because, yeah, J-juice can be used as a cure. Because it's just about superficial usage. Yeah, when you have skin conditions, you can use J-juice topically and it'll heal it pretty fast. You don't have to pay, the amount of money that some of these supplements and some of these cures on the market are asking you to pay. But that's how they're using J-juice, as far as the natural cures or the cures on the market, is they're using it superficially. But as soon as you get deep healing on the J-juice and you feel the healing and peeling, then you're going to go find Dr. Seabee stuff and you go suppress your healing with some kind of antibiotic prostaglandin inhibitor. And then that's how they're able to take J-juice and say, oh yeah, you can use it for this, but as soon as you get to a much deeper level of healing, you're going to stop that so quick, and then you're going to go buy into the holistic allopathic and buy into shaming your friends and family and buy into saying, oh yeah, there's organic versus synthetic, and no. That's where you have been pigeonholed because you stopped at a certain point of your healing process. Oh, you love J-juice, but you can't take it any further than your politics. Because it's easier to buy into the politics than it is to actually make your own path, develop your own way. So whatever. I'm going to survive all this. Some of you, I actually have a question whether or not you're going to survive or your kids are going to survive because of your politics. I saw someone like that comment, and I'm going to delete it. I can't even see that. I'm deleting. Hold on. I'm going to see who liked that. I can't. I will see who liked that comment. And I'm going to delete that, John. But I want to see who liked that, and I'm taking you off my fucking Facebook. I'm so annoyed with all of you that are still buying into the holistic allopathic. Well, I'm not going to take you off my Facebook, but I'm just telling you this, that you guys are not going to survive this next wave because of your belief systems, because of the fact that you've stopped with the J juice, and you're still buying into the left and the right. You're not going to survive this next wave. You're not going to survive it. And I know it, and you probably know it too. So I have a question on some of your survival ability. Some of you people. What the hell is going on? Oh, here we go. All right. Okay. Caroline Vasquez Torres. Well, time to take you off my Facebook too, because you're all into the holistic allopathic bullshit. See, John's just ferreting out all of you guys that have the potential because he hasn't freaking evolved. And neither will you, because you're still buying into there's a separation. No one, you guys haven't bought my book. You haven't even read my fucking book. Whatever. At this point, I don't even care. At this point, I don't even care. I mean, I do and I don't. But I know who's going to survive this and who's not. I already know who's going to survive this next, however many, Because, look at the fires. Look at all the different, the different chemistry. And you're going to be like, oh, I got to go take my antibiotics. Oh, I got to talk to Dr. Seabee. Oh, everything is synthetic. Everything's organic. Da, da, da. There's a difference. And I'm going to do my gardening and do my organic gardening in this world of intention. And you think it's going to make any fucking difference. And you haven't even read my book, even done the J juice. It's laughable. It's laughable. It is so laughable. And I've tried to warn and tell you guys that there is no difference in synthetic organic. It's either all organic or all synthetic. But you want to make there's a difference. That way you can feel better and feel more superior than your friends and family. Oh, you're eating McDonald's, so I'm going to shame you. Oh, you're poor. Oh, you don't live off grid like I do, so I'm going to shame you. But guess what? You're not immune to the conditions of the environment. You're not immune to the chemtrails. Your organic garden has already been genetically modified simply because you're in there. Because you're a genetically modified human. You have antibodies. You have your holistic remedies, your prescription drugs. Your belief systems have genetically modified your whole fucking garden. Your anger. Your disgust with the fact that you absolutely don't know how to control your own biochemistry has basically genetically modified your whole fucking garden. So I don't want to hear anyone say, oh yeah, organic gardening is the bomb. There is no organic gardening in a synthetic universe. And if you don't really get that, that's okay. If you want to shame somebody for drinking Starbucks because of it's a shitstorm of chemicals, then get out of the universe and go live in a black hole hermetically sealed with absolutely no food, no water, no air, no nothing. That way you can be chemical free. Chemical free is being basically non-existent. No, but wait, hold on. No, you can never be chemical free. You know why? Because you go back to the universe and maybe you become a single-celled organism and then, I don't know, maybe you might get another chance at life if somebody decides to procreate and someone allows you to live. But I'm telling you, man, reality is going to hit most of you squarely in solar plexus. You think your organic garden and not eating meat is going to save you, and then the environment is that much more aggressive. All the viruses are airborne. And what else? They're going to do more fires. There's going to be more storms. You're going to have runoff from the fires into your water. That's what's going on in California. All of the runoff from the chemicals from the fire and the burning and all that stuff from the buildings being torched and all that stuff. That's going into the water supply, and guess who's drinking it? The Californians. Oh wait, the organic Californians. They're not going to be able to survive without salt, without chili, without cabbage, without kale, without water. So they can adapt and release the excess and absorb what they need. Oh, no, 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 that's right. They want to drink alkaline water. Totally like, high negative charge. And no minerals in the water. I drink tap water. Guess what? I drink fucking Starbucks. You know what's interesting too? This is funny. I was at Starbucks today, and I was sitting at the window. I borrowed a friend's car because they borrowed my car, so we're doing car juggling right now. And I was at the drive-up window because I like my little Starbucks, right? And I had my dog with me because I got her nails done. And they're like, hey, you want a puppuccini? And so I was like, okay, sure. I don't know what the hell puppuccini is. So basically it's whipped cream. It's whipped cream. So I'm like, hey, okay, maybe my dog sugar would like it. So they gave it to me. I give it to dog. She did a tiny little lick. She refused it because, and she's like, and the lady at the window's like, oh my god, I've never seen a dog turn down the puppuccini. And I'm like, oh really? She's like, yeah. So she's like, I don't feel bad because it has a lot of different chemicals. Okay, yeah, it has a lot of different chemicals, but see, my body can handle it, so I'm good. My dog is, I don't say she's organic, but she is instinctual. If she already knows that she has enough of the minerals that are in that pepperoncini, she didn't want it. She didn't like it because she's an instinct. She's not a logic reasoning animal. She's not saying, oh yeah, I can handle it because I'm doing the J juice, No, her biochemistry did not have a need for that pepperoncini. Okay, so animals have instinct to know what is good for them, what is not good for them based upon their biochemistry. Humans, on the other hand, can be easily programmed. Okay, so if she was still with her old biochemistry prior to her doing the J juice, she probably would have eaten that pepperoncini, but she didn't because she was on the J juice and she released the excess candida that would cause her to be craving really sweet, sugary stuff. Okay? And so humans have the ability to reprogram their biochemistry as long as they get out of their own fucking way. But humans will get in their own way and they will justify their own destruction. That's what I find so interesting, is that humans will justify their own destruction. Whether it's, going to a Trump rally, even though we know that the virus isn't killer to everybody, only those that are really, really highly, immunocompromised and with much predispositions. But if somebody warned you, say, hey, you shouldn't be going to a place where you might catch a virus. Okay, they're doing all this beta testing on the population. They see who will justify their own destruction. And so this, Make America Great Again guy, this right winger on CNN was talking to the reporter who asked, well, why are you going to this rally when not wearing a mask if you know that there's this pandemic going on? And the guy goes, I don't care. I'll die if I die. Whatever. We just got to get this country moving forward. What does that mean? Get this country moving forward. He's justifying his own destruction. Whether or not he will actually die is even irrelevant. The fact that someone said, you're going to die, you're doing this, and they don't look behind the science, because they could easily say, no, I'm not going to die because I have enough of the biochemistry to handle the new viral. No, they're not coming from actual facts and science to dispute what CNN is saying. They're just like, oh yeah, I don't care if I die. We got to get this country moving forward. So Trump is my man. And you're just like, holy crap, he can't even intelligently counter what CNN's brainwashing is. That's what you're up against, is the ignorance of the population who is so easily led and so easily programmed and so easily manipulated. And so here I am going like, don't fucking buy into the organic bullshit. Don't fucking buy into the genetically modified. Everything's genetically modified. You are genetically modified. John Coronado, you are genetically modified. So is everybody else out there that thinks that they're dealing with organic bullshit. Once you are genetically modified, everything in your environment is, because that's the fact. You are your environment. And the environment is you. And you are the environment, and everything in the environment is you, and whatever. So now you have to understand life chemistry and death chemistry and fight chemistry with chemistry, and stop buying into the bullshit psychological operations. Stop shaming your friends and family because they eat McDonald's and you don't. Big fucking deal. You think that not eating meat and not eating McDonald's is going to save you when you have predispositions, and so do your children? They're taking on your predisposition, your anger, your PTSD from everything that you've ever went through. And then you put it out on Facebook that you're angry about stuff. You don't think your kids see that? So, you know, Julie Juice will definitely give you peace in body, mind, and spirit, where you don't have to fear anything that you encounter. You will have your indicators to let you know if you need to be in fight or flight. You're not continuously going to be always fighting or always fleeing unless you absolutely have to. I'm not running away right now because there's nothing to run from at this point. Until somebody tells me that there is an inclement weather, if I hear a siren, if I see on the news that says, okay, there's a tornado, if I look at the weather outside and be like, oh, wow, it's kind of green outside, maybe I should get down to my basement, I'll do that. If they say, hey, there's a huge fire coming your way or a huge tidal wave coming your way, they're giving you ample warning, or sometimes you don't get all that warning, but you see indicators because you're not that stupid and you're paying attention to the different things around there that are warning you, you can get out of harm's way. They're letting you know, hey, San Diego, hey, there's a tornado, maybe you should do a cover. Hey, there's a hurricane, why don't you go and evacuate? Oh, no, I'm going to go ride it out. It's not as bad. They said that last year and it's not as bad, so I'm going to ride out this year. If they were lying last year, then they could lie this year too. That's the total freaking justification of your death. That's what the elite are dealing with. So I can't feel sorry for those of you that won't survive this next purge. I can't feel sorry for you because you've allowed yourself to get that bad to where you're justifying your own death. And you don't understand chemistry and biochemistry. Hey, Jane Renault. And I'm trying to give you a heads up, but no, wait, your politics are way too important. Your politics and you being right is way much more important than facts and factual science versus perception science. Religion science versus factual science. That's what we're up against. Even in the science world, there's a dichotomy. Fact versus perception. So, it is what it is. But I know I'll survive and deal with whatever's coming down the pipeline. I have a big question on most of you out there that are listening to me. Some of you will get it. Some of you will still buy into the bullshit and deprive your body of nutrients, of fatty acid, amino acids, prohormones, and minerals. You think because you're eating vegetarian and organic, that you're going to survive this when you're so angry and you're also in a world that is very synthetic or very natural. But there's a bunch of chemistry in the air, fluctuating elements. You can't get away from it. If you think you can, then you might as well go and put yourself in a hermetically sealed environment where there's no air, no water, no food, no contact, no nothing. If you want to be chemical free. There's no such thing as a chemical free human. Wake the fuck up. Bye.